Welcome to another video, guys. I'm the Poetic Killer, and in today's video, we're going to be reading the poem "The Everlasting Throne" and "Steering into a New Direction." So we're gonna start off with "The Everlasting Throne." Let's get to it. When you take a loss, don't cry about it. Double back, because this world is all an act. There will be hard times. It is not what you're going through, but how you react. Just like everything that goes into in existence, there will be ups and downs. In this world, you can either be practical or end up lost in the lounge. We're all here to support each other, therefore, that is the only way to proceed. When faced with situations that require immediate response, you're either straight or oblique. That is the everlasting throne. Now it says, when you take a loss, don't cry about it, double back, because this world is all an act. There will be hard times. It is not what you're going through, but how you react. So in situations, everything is loss and gains. You know what I mean? That is the cycle of life. Some things are brought here and then some things are taken away. You know what I mean? So, certain experiences and people and places and things are brought into your life and then eventually they're taken away. And that is the cycle of existence. And that's why it's all an act because we're interacting with each other. You know what I'm saying? So whatever act whatever character that you have within you, characteristics, that is how you're going to interact with other people. You know what I'm saying? And certain interactions are very fruitful and certain interactions are very poisonous. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that you're learning how to be charismatic because the more charismatic you are, the more you can interact with other people and the more you can actually know how to come across in all walks of life. If you have one singular mindset on how you see things and you like to separate yourself from other people because you might feel like you're better than them in whatever you're doing, then that already creates a limitation on for you to understand and understand other aspects of life. You automatically create a barrier in the spirit world and in knowledge and wisdom on learning how to perceive things from different angles because of the preconceptive ideas and views you have on other people, whether it's based on ego or insecurity. Then it says there will be hard times. It is not what you're going through, but how you react. So, life is difficult, but really, I'll say this though, it's society that's difficult. It's not really life because the sun comes out, the moon comes out, nature is here. It's not difficult if you know how to interact with nature. It's only difficult if you're not living in alignment with nature. You know what I'm saying? So that's very important. Then it says, just like everything that goes into in existence, there will be ups and downs. In this world, you can either be practical or end up lost in the lounge. So, like I said, yeah, everything's a cycle. There's going to be ups, you're going to be up high, feeling optimistic, and then there's going to be times where you're going to feel low and feel like, pessimistic. You know what I'm saying? But it's very important that you know that this is just a cycle of life and everything will come in due timing. And it's very important that whatever you're practical, and when I say practical, I don't mean you have to do 10,000 things at once in one day to feel like, okay, I did something in my life. You don't have to pressure your soul to do things that your soul is not here to do. You don't have to pressure yourself to do things that your soul is not conducive to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of times in society, we feel like we have to look at a group of certain people or listen to a certain group of people on how to do things in life. But the thing is, we're all here to find our unique way of doing things in life. You cannot, you can get ideas and be inspired by other people, but you still have to, by the end of the day, do things in your own unique way. And that is how things are going to come for you. But if you try to do it in other people's way, then you're only going to get a limitation or a small amount of that blessing. You know what I'm saying? Because really, it's like a blessing because you're really taking someone else's source and you're creating a resource. Now, if you're having an actual mutual connection with somebody, then you're both going to be uplifted together. But if you're just trying to get energy from somebody without no mutual understanding or mutual connection or mutual agreement, you're only going to get a fraction of that energy. And that automatically puts you below that person. You know what I'm saying? You're already automatically below that person because you're not seeing eye to eye. You're actually trying to come under them to get that source, which is really now a resource. It's not really a source anymore because the source is the original person, the organic person. You know what I'm saying? And then it says, in this world, you can either be practical or lost in the lounge. We're all here to support each other. Therefore, that is the only way to proceed. When faced with situations that require immediate response, you can either be straight up or oblique. So in that line, it's saying we're all here to support each other because teamwork makes the dream work. You know what I'm saying? So the more, like I said, you know how to be charismatic, you know how to see other people's perspective, even if you don't agree with it, the more you're more well rounded. You know what I'm saying? Because you can either live your life in a triangular perspective, a pyramid perspective, or you can live your life in a circular or cycle perspective. Now, the pyramid and triangle perspective is more of the, I guess, the masculine perspective. But the thing is that only a few people can be at the tippy point of the triangle. You see, if you see the triangle, at the top of the triangle, only one or two people can be there. So you're having this fighting for scraps type of mentality. You know what I mean? Dog eat dog world mentality where the pyramid is only a few people can be at the top of the point of the pyramid. But when you live in cycles and circles, the feminine principle, there is space within space. So just like you have a ripple effect within the sea, there's a small circle, then there's a bigger circle, and then there's a bigger circle, and there's a bigger circle. And that is you initiating yourself into a greater sphere of existence, initiating yourself into a greater sphere of perception. But if you live in a pyramid type of mentality, you can only have two people or three or a few at the top. And now you're having this competition who can stay at the top. And you're living in an animalistic nature. You're in your animalistic nature. You're in a combative nature because you feel like your position, which is at the top, is threatened. But if you live in a circle or in a cycle, you know your time is coming. You know when it's time for you to expand, you can expand. And when you expand, the other person has to expand and go into that sphere. So it's like everyone's taking their turns to have their turn of the day, their turn of celebration, their turn of greatness. You know what I mean? So it's very important that what side are you on? Are you on the side of, you know, combating each other just to be at the very top, which is fighting for food scraps, fighting for a certain position that only a few people can be at the top? Or are you living in a circular existence, the natural organic way where we all take turns to reach that position? It's all up to you. You know what I'm saying? Because everything based on geometry is based on a certain principle, and there's principles to things, there's virtues and principles to every shape and form that you see in existence. So certain people like to live in a pyramid or a triangular form where only a few people can be at the top, and it's their job to destroy anyone else that reaches that point. And some people like to live their life in a cycle or in a circle where they know that once they're fulfilled that cycle, they're going to be born out into a greater sphere, into a greater atmosphere. And the people that were in that atmosphere will have to expand also into a greater atmosphere. And we're all taking turns, and there is no form of destroying each other. You know what I'm saying? And that is the everlasting throne because the everlasting is based on cycles. It is not based on one singular mentality. That is only going to expand you to a fraction of where you need to be. So that is that poem, guys, the everlasting throne. Now let's get to the next one. The next poem is called Staring into a New Direction. Practicing the law of non attachment prevents you from any form of harassment. Dwelling on mentally creating the past will surely make the pain forever last. Things can be accomplished with a strong drive. New experiences are needed to spiritually stay alive. And that is staring into a new direction. Now it says practicing the law of non attachment prevents you from any form of harassment. So when you're practicing the law of non attachment, it means that you're experiencing things at will, you're experiencing things in the moment. You're not lost into the duality of things, aka the past or the future. You're just experiencing things within the present, which is the gift of life. You know what I'm saying? And when you're non attached, you live a better life because you know when it's time for you to leave a certain situation or a group of people, and you know when it's time for you to come into a new group of people and a new setting and a new environment. You know what I mean? You're not attached to one specific area. You're not attached to one specific mentality or one preconceptive view on how everybody needs to live. You know what I mean? Yeah, needs to live their life. You know that everyone's here to find their unique way of living their life. And as long as it's in balance and in harmony within everyone else, aka the ripple effect, the cycle, then everything is in well formation. Everything is going in the well um, grounded way that it needs to be. And then it says, dwelling on mentally creating the past will surely make the pain forever last. So that's a double edged sword. It could be also for good things. You know, you can dwell on the good things from the past, but at the same time, you have to realize that you're in the here and now. And if you do have something that was good in the past and you know that it's something you can continue, then that is something you have to bring onto the present. You know what I'm saying? You cannot just mentally think about the past and how good it is, but you don't want to bring that onto the present and keep following you. And also, if it's something that was very traumatic or detrimental that was in the past, you don't want to give that life, because if you give a life, then it's going to always remain within your psyche. So it's very important that you're renewing yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically in whatever way that you seem fit for your unique life and your unique way of living. And and it says things can be accomplished with a strong drive. New experiences are needed to spiritually stay alive. So things can be accomplished with a strong drive. It's all about your passion. You know what I mean? Your passion is very important because that is what is going to drive you. You know what I mean? The drive. That's why people use the word drive. How driven are you? You know, are you goal driven? Because driven drive is based on passion, which is like your oil, which is really your internal oil. And that is what keeps the motor or your mind and your vessel keep going. How much energy and passion you have in something. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's very important that we are encouraging as a society people who are here to bring something new into the world, new perspective, new ways of thinking, new inventions and things like that. Because the moment we go against those type of people is the moment that the planet dies. You know what I'm saying? Because the planet is here to give birth to new things. This planet is like a form of a womb. Everything is a form of a womb. Every single thing. You know what I'm saying? Every single thing is a form of a womb. Experiences, the female vessel, your mind, your ovaries, your testicles, everything is a form of a womb. You know what I'm saying? So even yeah, like this planet, the universe, everything. So the moment people start, you know, ignoring those type of people or ignoring new inventions and new ideas that can take society into a greater sphere and into a greater atmosphere, that is when things start to die. That is when things start to deteriorate and decay because people are not living in alignment to the laws of the universe. You know what I'm saying? And once you start doing that, that is when you're more based on the ego. You're more based on the flesh. You're more based on trying to control things because the ego likes to control things. When the feminine principle or the internal likes to let go. And when you let go, just like you're in the sea, that is when you start to float. You know what I'm saying? But the more you fight it, the more the sea will drag you down and drown you because you're fighting existence. You're fighting the natural laws of the universe. You're fighting the natural laws of living. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that we're not getting blinded by that light. We're not getting blinded by the physical things. We're controlling things from the inside out, not from the outside in. You know what I'm saying? And then it says new experiences are needed to spiritually stay alive. And that's right. You know what I'm saying? Because new experiences is what gives the soul a mission, something to experience. It gives the soul food. It gives the soul nutrients because it's absorbing new experiences. It's absorbing new knowledge and wisdoms and new ways of interacting and perceiving things. So it's very important that we're encouraging new things into the world and we're not destroying new things into the world based on your you know limited perception or limited view of thinking and things like that. You want to always have a open mind, even if it's something that is opposite to what you see the world should be. You still have to have an open mind because you can learn something from that thing, that experience, or that people, or whatever thing that you're trying to learn from. It's very important that we're giving life to existence. We're giving life to new mentalities and new ways of perceiving things. And that is the only way, like it says in the title of this poem, we're staring into a new direction. To stare into a new direction is to encourage new innovative ways of ideas and new innovative ways of thinking. And that is the only way we can actually expand as a species. And yeah, guys, that is the poem for today's video. Hope you guys gain something new. And until next time, I'll catch you soon.